Just like those girls in high school that don't want to tell their parents they're pregnant yet. That's me. I need to get a counselor so I can get more likes. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Jubal Show. I'm your host, Jubal Fresh. And, oh my God, I'm at Coachella. Not really. I mean, yeah, I am, but by accident. So, hanging out with the family in LA this week. Spring break, so the kids are off of school, so we're just chilling. And then scheduled a last-minute trip to Palm Springs. And then we're looking at hotels. We're like, damn, it's expensive in Palm Springs this weekend. And then I'm talking to somebody else, and they go, oh, you're going to Palm Springs this weekend? Did you get your hotel? Because Coachella starts this weekend. And I went, oh, shit, forgot. So now, guess what? Me, hot housewife Alex Fresh, and Belle Bear, the 13-year-old, are out here at Coachella. Getting not crazy. We're out here at Coachella. We're in Palm Springs, trying to get some sun and some relaxation. But then there's just floppy hats walking around everywhere from people who are super excited to get to Coachella and pop a molly and listen to some band that we've never heard of so they can act cooler than all of us. Anyway, that's where I am right now. That's why if you're watching the video on YouTube, then you can see the cactuses and stuff behind me. And that's why, because Coachella are bust. Anyway, this week on the podcast, though, had the pleasure of sitting down with AJ Benza, who hosts the Fame is a Bitch podcast. Subscribe to that. Check that out. And I hope you enjoy the conversation. Also, make sure to rate and review this podcast. Also, rate, review the podcast that I do with my hot ass wife, Alex Fresh. If you didn't subscribe to that one and you didn't see the last episode or listen to the last episode, she actually peed. It was a live urination on the Fresh Till Death podcast. So rate, review the shit out of that one, or the piss out of it. Rate, review the piss out of it, because she pissed on the podcast. So check that one out. There was no pissing in this podcast, but I'm assuming that someday there might be another one. But anyway, me, my hot ass wife, Alex Fresh, and AJ Benza sat down for a conversation, talked a lot about anger management, a lot of gossip stuff because he's in the know on all that. And, of course, a lot of talk about people getting offended over everything. So enjoy the conversation. Thanks for checking out the Jubal Show. By the way, if you didn't understand those clips that were at the beginning of the podcast, listen to the last one, because that's where they came from. But remember, rate, review, enjoy the conversation. Coachella. AJ, thank you for coming to the show.
Absolutely,
Appreciate it, man. If you don't know who AJ is, he's got the Fame is a Bitch podcast. Make sure you check that out. Also, when I first started doing podcasting, especially on the Patreon, we accidentally stole your name for your daily podcast.
What you do?
I don't know if you know.
No, what is it?
Your podcast on your Patreon is
The
Daily Unfiltered.
Right.
And when we were putting together my Patreon, because I was like, so now I'm going to do podcast.
Right.
And then I'm also going to do a Patreon for some of the more edgy stuff, and then a daily thing.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah.
And then Alex put it together, and she was like getting all the stuff together, and then we just started calling it the Daily Unfiltered. And then it was like 3 days later, we're like, holy shit, I think we're stealing the name from AJ.
It's completely fine.
We've since changed it though.
So
it's changed now. But that was just it.
Listen, somebody took my name and made their podcast Fame is a Pitch.
Are you serious?
What?
High Pitch Eric on Howard Stern. They're dying for me to talk about it. So they're doing some kind of shit with me. But I know I don't bring it up ever. But like literally the day after, he has the same design, and it's just his body. It's high pitch. Fame is a pitch.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
And I don't want to talk too much about that because I don't want to give him the satisfaction.
No, I think he has 9 listeners. I'm not worried about that. No, that's fine.
Well, we changed it to the Daily Fresh It.
Fresh It.
I see it. It comes on my phone.
Yeah. So we changed it, but
no problem.
It was funny because we had that conversation. We were sitting there. I was like, okay, like I know we rushed starting all this, but I also think at the same time we stole an idea. And so I want to let you know that wasn't on purpose. It wasn't malicious.
No, it's all right. And I appreciate that you think like that, because some people don't care. Well, a name is one thing, but I'll say something on my show. Most everything is my opinion. But if somebody takes a shot at somebody that I think is funny or really worthy of their getting credit, I don't make believe I think, and I give that person credit.
Yeah, exactly.
So that hot Real Housewife, Brandy Glanville, I think she's hot. She's crazy hot. I mentioned, that she gave somebody shit. Who did she give shit, Mike? Randy said something about, she said that Wendy Williams was off a rocker years ago at a party and her wig was crooked and she was fucked up even back then.
Okay.
So I said that, and I have a lot of women on my audience, and a couple of them like crush, like they flat out tell me how much they like me. It gets crazy, but it's fun. And they're like, are you fucking her? Are you trying to fuck Randy Glanville? No, I'm just giving her credit because she said something.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't I want to anyhow? Like, but yeah, some chicks get crazy like that when it comes to, so credit, names, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Especially with the journalism background. You give credit where it's due.
Yeah, exactly. And me too, just with anything, especially, doing stand-up comedy. Like, you say anything similar to anybody in stand-up and you have to be like, well, I either have to get rid of that bit or I need to let everybody know that I wrote that. I didn't mean it. But if it's exactly the same, you got to drop it no matter what.
But you're in a hard spot now more than ever because of what's happened with, who's the guy Rogan destroyed on stage?
Mencia?
Carlos Mencia.
Yeah.
You get Amy Schumer is stealing shit. I put her on blast 2 weeks ago because her Netflix special is her playing Rosie the Riveter making a muscle. Mm-hmm. 3 years earlier, another comic did that. Angela somebody did it for a Comedy Central special.
Yeah.
And just Amy Schumer just does it too much.
Yeah.
That's shitty.
It's really shitty.
So
now, but in the old days, like writers of TV shows would go to comedy clubs, but no one knew who they were. There were no phones on you.
Exactly.
Who knows who a writer is for Roseanne, for instance?
Yeah.
And as at a comedy club, they're picking up great material, and you're home as a comic who wrote the joke, and your shit's on TV. Mm-hmm. It must be awful.
It is terrible because I've had a few. I've worked with a few guys, and then after I've seen things, I'm like, man, that's oddly similar. But I don't have that chip in me because I'm not that type of guy.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's hard for me to go like, maybe they did take that premise from me. Right. Like, should I get taken advantage of all the time?
Yeah.
In my life, Alex will tell you that.
Really?
So because I don't have that. I don't think that way. So, but it is weird now though how it's like there are people who straight up take jokes.
Oh yeah.
And then because they have like a platform to get on TV,
yes,
or they have Netflix or they have whatever, they'll use it there, and then those guys don't even care.
No.
Like you'll come up to them, you'll see them somewhere and be like, "Hey, you stole that." And I've never done this, but friends of mine have done it, and they're like, "Yeah, but it's on TV now."
I know.
So see you later.
But I mean, like, how many times do you think comedians write similar jokes?
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
That's the other thing too, though. That's an issue with stand-up is there's a lot of similarity. People, our minds think like there's only so much material, right?
Right.
If it's kind of similar, it's tough because you can get labeled somebody who steals material. Not, I think like what you're saying though, like the exact picture, the exact
that's too much.
It's too much. Like the Mencia thing, like those examples are blatant, but sometimes I think people get labeled as stealing material when it's like they just had the same premise.
Of course, and if we're all riffing on the same shit, how many of us? I'm not even a comic, but how many of us who have podcasts and such are just riffing on a lot of the same shit that's happening every day?
Right.
Exactly.
How many fresh Trump jokes can there be before, it's hard to just always have the new fresh thing to say. But I like that. I like that the challenge of that, of coming up with something new every day, not something funny every day.
I do too, and that's kind of what I like about podcasting in general. Because you've been doing it a while now. You've had
a couple years,
a couple years.
A little over 2, I think, right?
Yeah. So you've been doing it a while. This will be like the 5th or 6th. I don't even know. See, I don't even know. I'm paying attention. But I just started podcasting, and Alex and I do one together, and then I do the solo one. And but that's what I like about it though, is you can have real conversations, and not everything has to be so punchy. Like you have
it's better. The real conversations are better.
Yeah.
I think they're funnier at times than a bit might be, because for me, I don't do bits, but I'm not set up that way. That wasn't my career, but my stories are standalone, funny stories, sad stories. I mix them both. And are you kidding? It's like, it's better than therapy.
I think so too. Yeah,
you learn about yourself, where you're going overboard, or you people who care about you tell you, hey, he's caught me a few times. You're really angry on that show, and you got to go in your head, why the fuck was that? Oh yeah, I know why I was angry, and I put it out there that night.
Yeah, and I've listened to some things too where I've been like, oh, okay,
yeah.
When you're trying to figure out things to do for fresh it, trying to ideas, you're trying to be funny all the time. And I'm like, you can be,
Yeah.
you can talk about whatever. You don't always have to be funny just because you're a comedian.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I
But-
agree. I agree. Like my wife is her big complaint. My wife is, look, you know, you just don't have to always speak mean about. Like, don't be angry about something all the time. But
Yeah.
that's my natural go-to emotion.
Right.
Yeah, mine
I
is
get frustrated all
yeah.
the time about stupid shit.
Yeah.
So
That's fine.
It is, but when you go to anger management, which I'm going to now, it like takes away your natural ability to be that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've got to find somebody in the middle.
You're like, now I have
kind of be angry, but
Yeah.
not over the top.
right.
You know, can't put your fist through a wall, but maybe, you know, elbow something.
You
I don't
can
know.
walk by and kind of
Yeah.
shoulder check the wall, just
Something.
you know, like
I
when,
need that.
when you're walking through the airport and someone's kind of in your way and just kind
Yeah.
of bump them a little bit, you can do that to
Yeah,
the wall now.
yeah.
So are you really going to anger management?
Yeah, you know, my wife and I separated in December, and we're still in touch constantly. I still see the kids. It was over my temper. You know, years of being a bad tempered guy, not hitting her, not kicking her, no physical, but you know, what you learn is if it's menacing in any way and it's scary to see, a woman feels just as threatened.
As anybody,
You know,
for sure.
I didn't know a lot of those things. I mean, this
Yeah.
sounds like, oh, how could you not know that? But I had a father who was loud and crazy, and he wasn't vicious to us. He didn't hurt us. But when Daddy was in a bad mood, we know Daddy's in a bad mood. And nowadays, you can't be in a bad mood because
Yeah.
kids are so sensitive.
Yeah.
Well, it's different. I mean, but you're right though. You learn certain ways. Like it's like, oh yeah, if this is how you express anger, then that it just keeps going. And then at a certain point, you don't even realize
No, I don't realize
how angry you might be at the moment or how you might be acting. Or like that's one thing that I learned from a lot of therapy and stuff that I've done is learning perceptions, like learning that, I've never been a good communicator in relationships until now. I think I'm
I
pretty,
think he's really good.
yeah. But it took a long time to get there because it was always like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
you think like you're being crazy right now, but it's like, okay, they see something in me that makes them react that way, and I see something in them that makes them react that way.
Yeah.
So like, why do you think that? What are you seeing right now? And then I'll tell you if that's the truth. Like,
Yeah.
like you see me as being really angry and upset, but I'm not. So what did I just do to make you feel that way? So that I can let you know when I do this, I'm not.
That's if you can communicate that, that's great. But
That's
now
tough,
we have
you know?
Google, where everybody has a past and a history that's easily recalled up. So
Yeah.
if you're in any kind of violent, I don't mean violent, just if your past has anything in it on Google that's about being fired for smacking Stuttering John,
Oh, yeah.
or you did, then you become, well, that's just the guy's fucking crazy.
Right,
So before
right.
you get into the room, they
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
he's crazy.
Yeah, and if he's so Alex, I don't know how much you know, but he worked with Howard Stern a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
And so
and I was in the chair that was open for a while before when Jackie Martling left, before Artie Lang. There was like 5 of us that he was trying out, and everybody said I had to, like, Howard really wants you to have the chair. I wouldn't. I mean, it sounds crazy now to say I wouldn't have taken it, but I don't think I could have because the hours are not. I was a night guy. That's
yeah.
my life. I couldn't go to bed at 8 and just work until 11, and I have to be out at night. Anyhow, it wouldn't have worked.
It's
but
tough.
Artie Lang, who was better, that was the best 10 years of the show, so it all worked out. But Stuttering John got smacked in the middle of it. But the point is, when you go to these management schools or these trainings, these courses, they teach you things like, I didn't know. Like, if my wife doesn't want to fight and she'll walk away, and I like to finish fight. Let's finish it. So
Yeah.
I'll walk in the other room where she is, and I'll stand in the doorway in the kitchen. And then you learn from people, though, that's like hostage. It's like
standing in the doorway
yeah, like
represents.
you can't even do like
yeah.
I'm closing you in, and
Exactly.
when she was a kid, this happened to her, and you're like, oh, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, yeah,
How do we figure this out?
yeah.
Can I call you? Like, what the fuck? So it gets weird, but you do learn a lot. I'm learning a
You
lot.
do. So what do they do actually? And I've never
Here's
been,
the best.
obviously. Like,
The anger management. Okay, look, it's a lot of beginning meditation, learning to cope with your emotions, having.
what kind of meditation?
Well,
is
it's
it?
nothing corny. It's just in the beginning, the first minute or two, just get loose, breathing,
Okay.
nothing crazy, or else I'd walk out.
I too have like, I'm not anymore, but I'm angry. But mine was kind of different, more like internal. Like I would turn on myself. But I tried meditation, transcendental meditation. I paid like a bunch of money to go to this transcendental meditation school to like try to help
Yeah.
me learn to relax.
Right.
but something about it made me rage even more. I would go
understand.
meditate for an
it.
hour, and then I'd wake up and I would get in the car and be like, why do I just want to drive into everybody on the road right
I
now?
couldn't do it. I get it. I couldn't do it. But the thing about anger, it's better in a group because a lot of people have similar experiences. You get to like talk to each other. But of course, you know, I'm there, and I had not seen my wife and kids for like 90 days. I mean, I saw them, but we weren't living together. So I'm trying to get back. So my problems were deeper than this guy's angry because he doesn't like traffic. This guy's mad because he thinks his father. It was all like rooted in stuff that you can figure this out.
Right.
I was in jail. I lost my wife and kids. So this guy's telling this stupid story, and we're listening. And he goes, "I'd like to continue, but I'd like AJ to blow his nose because he's breathing a lot, and it tends to bother me." Now, that my reaction is to laugh. No one laughs in the room.
Oh, yeah,
the counselors think, well, this is very important.
Yeah.
And they look at me, and I go to the guy, I'm not going to stop sniffling. And you're lucky this wasn't last month. I would have knocked your fucking chair over and kicked you in the face. You stupid fuck. You don't talk to a man that way. And then, okay. Then the next 3 weeks was, let's examine why AJ went that crazy. So it's good, though. It's good. But they did. I kept saying, how could you not tell that guy right now that he's wrong and rude for doing that?
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it. So that was getting me crazy. I said, I'm leaving. No, stay. Let's get to. And they called me and said, we were wrong. We should have told him he was rude. He was. I was right.
Yeah.
I overreacted, but he's gone from the class, and they love me. Yeah. And I like going to them. I feel calm when I'm around them. I just feel better about the prospects of
that's great.
Getting along with people.
Yeah.
And but I do get along with people. I just don't like assholes.
Yeah. You and I have met a few times.
Yeah.
And I tend to be, I think I'm a pretty good gauge of people. You're an intense dude.
Yeah. Passionate, Italian, you know.
Yeah. You're intense. You also don't have a problem calling things like you see them.
No, yeah.
Which a lot of people don't.
Right.
You know, and I'm good at it sometimes. Alex is good at it a lot, but when you make people uncomfortable,
I know,
and especially somebody like you, because I'm so mellow. Alex is pretty mellow,
yeah.
But you are an intense dude, so automatically people are gonna see you as you're more combative, but really you're just like, hey, don't be a dick.
Yeah, to me, it's obvious behavior that you don't have to have, so don't fucking do it again.
Yeah.
Well, I was married before, and I left. I got divorced because of his anger.
Yeah, I know.
He needs anger management. He won't go.
No, I embrace going. I know. I've seen a therapist. When I was with Howard Stern, I was about to have a daughter, and he said to me, "You're going to have a girl. You got to go to therapy now because I know you. What we've done on this show. I know the kind of guy life you've led." See, and I saw somebody in Beverly Hills. It was great, Dr. Nick. It was great to just talk to a guy about being a guy.
Yeah.
And basically, he was like, "You're fine. You grew up from your dad was There'd been studies about Italian men, Brooklyn, World War II. He was a cop." Something happened to those men in that era, and the children who grew up around those men, a lot of us, don't think that behavior is caveman-like because we saw him being very tender.
Yeah,
we saw him stick up for us and punch men in the face if they,
I think there's a.
But that's out now. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And I suppose that's good. But my son, he does not have that gene that I had where if somebody's wrong, you got to have the balls to make it right. Yeah. He's very sweet, sensitive, and kind, which I'm glad. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when I'm coaching him in football or soccer and I'm getting pissed at the ref, he's concerned about, Dad, you're going to get the flag thrown. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. He's a fucking bad ref.
Yeah.
You didn't step out of bounds. Yeah. I know, but don't.
I think it's a fine line in society today with being able to say things and call it like they are. Like you obviously, like your podcast, Fame is a Bitch, it's all about like gossip and then other celebrity related
political
stories,
celebrity, whatever. Yeah, it's
stuff,
everything, man.
Like everything. But everybody's so sensitive about everything.
I know.
And I think it's great, and it's amazing. It's an amazing thing to do, to go, yeah, all right. I want to change some things. I want to go to anger management, or I want to change some things. I want to go find the type of therapy that works for me, which is what I had to do because I'd been in therapy my whole life, and I finally had to find the specific thing that helped me. Yeah. And it took a long time, and I think that's a great thing to do. But then there's also a fine line between like teaching people, like your son, who is obviously, like you said, very sweet, caring, and all that stuff, but also teaching him how to say no. Mm-hmm. Is something that I think that we're losing, and a healthy no is good. Yeah. And teaching people to do that because you can't do any
you can't, no matter what you do, you're gonna offend somebody
Yeah.
today. And we talk about it all the time because, I almost lost my radio job for running over frozen snow.
I know. I know.
You heard about that.
I love it.
And then there's just been other things that I've done online where I'm like, how would anybody even get upset about that?
Well, last night I don't know. I hate watching TV shows sometimes because I used to have a talk show on E for like 4 weeks before they didn't know what they were doing and they canceled me. But it was like ahead of its time. It was alcohol in the audience, weed in the green room. It was going to be great. And all my buddies were running it with me. Vinny, Johnny Boy, Frankie, Rocco. It was one of those guys. It was a great show. And Busy Phillips has a show on E now where she sits on a couch and chats with her girlfriends. And last night, Mandy Moore came on. And they were talking about, and I'm going to do this on my show tonight. They're talking about, there's a remake of Guys and Dolls. And we're going to audition for the same parts. Oh, I hope so. They're getting all excited. And they said, but of course they're going to cast the men first. And she goes, it's such bullshit. Why are they going to cast the men first? I don't know, because Frank Sinatra and Marlon Brando were the stars of that movie?
Yeah.
What the fuck is your problem?
Yeah.
We'll find the right actresses once we get, what's the name again? Bat Masterson and I forget, and Nathan Detroit. We got to cast those two guys.
Right.
They're the main guys.
So offended.
People get so offended. And
I'm offended by their being offended.
because there's
We get offended by people being offended all the time.
all the time. And that's the thing is like, just be truthful and honest and just call something what it is. Like, this is a movie where there's male leads. So we would want to probably cast those guys first.
Yeah.
This is a movie where there's female leads. So let's probably cast the females first. But now it's automatic.
I know.
It's gotten to be so PC where it's actually exclusive, because the people who are getting the most mad are the mommy bloggers and the soccer moms who want to stick up for other people.
Of course.
Right? They've had their life is fine.
I
Like
know.
they're getting up and they're going for walks and they're going to Starbucks and then they're reading something and then they're like, oh, I know why I should be offended. And it's like, no, you don't, because you haven't walked in there. You don't really actually know.
Exactly.
But you're getting so mad. And it's like, even with rap music and things like that, like those people will be like, well, any white rapper, G-Eazy, for example, he's appropriating black culture. He should stop. And I'm like, he's co-signed by E40.
Yeah.
From the like he's fine.
I know.
Everybody else in rap music is good with people like G-Eazy, but you're saying a white person shouldn't do something a black person does.
Right.
So we should all be our own race and in our own box. That's actually what you're trying to fight against.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
And it just bugs me how you can't do
cultural
anything.
appropriation. It gets so weird that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he wants to play this famous king in Hawaii, King Kamehameha, the guy that like was this fantastic figure in Hawaii's heritage. He's everywhere. He's like Mickey Mouse in Disneyland. Well, The Rock's not Hawaiian. The Rock is Samoan and some other Nova Scotian, some other little bit of something. But he went to high school in Hawaii. Yeah. There are people in Hawaii that are mad that he's going to play the role.
Right.
And he'll probably get nominated for an Oscar. It's written by the guy who wrote Forrest Gump, like major people behind him. It's going to be his big fucking Oscar. But they don't want him to play him. Like, who else? Are you going to just wait for a Hawaiian actor to make this happen?
Is there somebody that can play? Yeah, I mean, if there isn't.
So stupid.
It's different because it's not like it's back in the day when they were painting white people brown to play Indians.
Course,
like he's still an Islander.
Yeah, I know.
Just take that as a victory. Be like he's still.
People have to be offended. Have to be offended. Hey, look, I got pissed off when I used to see Eli Wallach play an Italian gangster when I was a kid. I go, why is Eli Wallach playing a Godfather? He's an old Jew from New York.
Yeah.
But you get used to it. Then suddenly you find out, Jimmy Cahn's a Jew, but he plays some great Italian roles.
Yeah.
So just calm down about it. Let them be actors.
Yeah. And the other thing that I find funny is, have you ever seen Breakfast at Tiffany's before?
No.
Okay. You probably know what I'm going to talk about then. Because all those people that complain a lot, they're all those same people that look at movies, like they're kind of hipstery and they look at the old nostalgia and they're like, I just want to go to see Breakfast at Tiffany's and go to brunch. Well, Breakfast at Tiffany's, there's incredibly racist Asian caricature in that. I don't know who the dude is that plays it.
I know. I almost had it, but I know what you mean. Mickey Rooney used to pull his eyes, like they used to tape his eyes back and he talked like this. Like,
and that is kind of offensive to me. Like, I think that's offensive. I think you should be offended at that. But the same people that are offended at the stuff today look at that stuff and go, that was Hollywood magic back then. And it's like, no,
I know.
that was racism. What's happening today is
Actually,
not
you're
racism.
going to go to Palm Springs. There was a great restaurant there for years back when a lot of the stars went there, and it was Sambo's.
Yeah, that's right.
Sambo's is a big joint. Everyone went to Sambo's. Could you imagine naming something Sambo's now?
Not at all. Not at all. So what's the big thing that you're like, what's going on there? Because I don't pay enough attention to
Hollywood-wise?
Hollywood-wise. Like, what are you talking about these days?
Right. I can't get enough of the Jussie Smollett and the fake hate hoax beating in the street. I could not get enough of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
let's
good.
ask you
My
some questions
favorite
about that.
story in
Yeah.
the last 20 years, I think.
So did it happen?
No.
So it didn't happen.
No. And it goes so much deeper, and we'll never know because of that frig face who's friends with Obama,
Yeah.
and it all got called off. And
Okay.
you're about to learn that one of the Nigerians was Jesse's lover. I'm not lover. They were fucking around.
Right.
Also gave him drugs when he needed them. The money was for sex and drugs, that the check that was written out, and partially for the work that they were going to do, this hate hoax. But the police had it all figured out. The police, we saw the videos of the guys buying the masks and the rope and the bleach, and they found the magazines in the house with the cutout letters. He did it all. And yet, they claim half the world wanted people to think it was about money. Not about money. Jussie Smollett grew up black and privileged and hated Donald Trump's constituents. Can't stand that America is the way it is right now. Because, so he was railing, and he didn't get enough popularity for his music. He jumped into music right away. That didn't pop. So now he's panicking. And as a result, I don't know what, they must have paid those Nigerians off. Somebody came to them at night and said, listen, you're not going to make it as big actors. You're both big, buff Nigerians. Look, you got a business training people. You want to be extra here and there. And by the way, no small, skinny, third lead black actor, gay, is going to be hanging out with a bodybuilding couple of guys. That's not who your buddies are.
Right.
I wouldn't have buddies like that.
Yeah.
It's got to be gay.
Right.
Got to be sexual. So, well, that's fine. But we'll never find out because it all got squelched, and somebody paid the Nigerians a bunch of money. And the horrible thing is, I don't know which one it was, but they're Nigerians. I mean, they're American citizens, but they go to Nigeria a lot. But in Nigeria, there's a death penalty for homosexuality. So I think that was part of it. If this ever gets out, this kid, he's done.
Yeah.
You're going to ruin a life.
You can't go home, or
so
if you do.
It's a very delicate situation, but Jussie Smollett has to pay some kind of, he's going to pay the fine.
Did he already pay it or no?
No, I don't think, maybe $130K, but no, he's going to lose a career, which is, I'm glad.
Yeah.
And the $130K, who cares?
Yeah.
No, man, he needed to serve some time for that.
I think so. I mean, with all of the gravity of what he did, if you think about it, because not just the time and the man hours that were involved in the police in Chicago, the image of Chicago, which already has an image problem. Hello, lots of shootings, lots of they're the murder capital of our city, our country.
Well, country, right?
So, and so they don't need any more bad press. And then to do that and all the work that they had to put into tracking these people down, and then to find out that it didn't actually happen, and you did it as a hoax. And then it was so confusing, though, when the news came out that they were dropping the charges. I was like, so does that mean?
I know.
Does that mean that he didn't do it, or
no.
he did do it?
You'll never hear an interview from him, from the guys. And the thing that really was the big giveaway was Rahm Emanuel gets on, who's buddies with Obama, and he's in that crew, but they didn't tell him they were doing this. This call went behind his back. So here he is about to give credit to his police department for solving, unfortunately, this hate hoax crime. But on the other hand, now you're making us look like real shit because we're letting this kid walk when everybody knows he's guilty.
Yeah.
So Emanuel, his anger was at the Obamas and that whole clique that, why didn't you tell me? Because he wouldn't have allowed it.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was just crazy to see that, and I couldn't figure it out. There are people, though, that are like, oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, sure.
I'm glad he's innocent. And it's like, he's not, though.
No, he's not innocent. And Anthony Anderson wanted him to get an NAACP award when he was nominated way before this happened. But of course, he didn't show. But for people to think that, hey, why not? For what? What do you think he's done great for the black race? Exactly.
If anything, he just did a disservice.
Of course.
By claiming to be a victim when he wasn't.
And the whole culture. Look, you've got if 100 whatever it was. I think the last count was $125,000 an episode. Initially, the reports, because the media is all full of shit. Initially, he was saying he's making $35,000. That's ridiculous. Nobody on a hit show makes that kind of money.
Yeah.
Maybe the 9-year-old boy on the show. So for it to be that, and then on the heels of that, have this college scam with Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin and giving money to change kids' SAT scores, and there's a lot of people, and that is, I hate to make this political, but that's Trump's base. Trump's base of people are people who mostly are either very wealthy and don't want to admit it, or they work hard all their lives and they want to be recognized for hard work. And now we're seeing, rich people get into school before my kid.
Yeah.
And they put your daughter's face on my daughter's body and make believe she's on the road team.
Oh, that thing was so
It's so
weird, too.
creepy. I don't mind them giving money to a school. Parents find ways to do that, and I don't blame them. We want our kids to have great educations. I would do it if I could, if I had an angle.
Yeah.
But this is just disgusting to make believe like he's got a great athlete as his son. They're putting Law's face on some other kid's body to get him into Fullerton or something. It's unbelievable.
That is so weird. I mean, just to say, yeah, I play badminton. I'm excellent at it. I got a full ride scholarship, but you've never even actually met a
picked up a
coach. You've never,
birdie,
that was insane. And do you think that they're going to
They're
spend
gonna
time in jail?
Yeah,
those people?
I think they'll do probably 18 months. They additional charges came at them today, like money laundering, possible charges. So every parent's different. Some parents are in for a penny, some for a pound. Bill Macy and his wife put in 15 grand. Lori Loughlin put in $500,000. This other guy put in 300,000 for his kid. We're all finding out different levels of participation. So every case is going to be different. But I think Felicity and Lori are going to be in the side of a jail cell. Absolutely.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand how the whole scam worked.
Yeah.
Where did it start?
It's a
Do you
guy.
know?
It's a guy that. And Mike, jump in here if you can. It's a guy that basically helps recruit kids for different schools.
This has
right?
become a big business.
Yeah.
Getting basically a coach for your kid, and if you're trying to get into a prestigious school, the competition is unbelievably intense these days. So you'll hire a consultant to work with your kid on helping them understand strategies that will work for them for taking ACT or SAT.
Yeah.
Choosing a path of entry to a school. For instance, while it's so hard to get into Stanford, let's say, there might be a department within Stanford, a major you could choose as your path that is less competitive than others. So they will coach you to build a resume that makes it look like you really want that path, get you in the school, and then once you're in, you can change to whatever major you want. So the things they do, it starts with this a base of business that is packaging your kid for acceptance to the best school, and they'll promise you if your kid has 3 top choices that they will work with you and guarantee your kid gets into one of those 3. Now, if your kid has a C average and puts Harvard on his list, they'll say, no, it's a realistic list of 3 that are stretches, but will help you get in there. So it started, I think, as, an honest business trying to help you, strategize to get your kid into the school you want. And then over time, they see these little sort of holes that you can penetrate where
there's
if
no
you're at
money.
USC and you're the coach of crew at USC. I don't know, maybe you're making $100,000, which is a nice living in most places. Los Angeles, it's you're certainly not wealthy, and if somebody comes along and to get you to bend the rules a little bit, turn your head, will stuff your pockets with a lot of money.
Sure.
You'll find people willing to do it, especially, this whole thing, I'm told, was everybody doing it understood that they would never get caught. Like people laughed at the thought of getting caught. I'm told that this is the tip of the iceberg.
Of course it is.
Both of the schools my kids go to, we had letters come home from the principal and the headmaster because a family from each school was named. And they don't tell you who. And, I mean, I didn't take the time to go try and figure out who it was. But they're now concerned that this is going to be one of those things that blows wide open, and we find out that there, are tons of families involved. And by the way, the 15 grand thing, that's unbelievable, because to hire a good one of these consultants, period, is going to cost you at least that. And so, wait a minute, you could pay that and
get in.
And get in.
I don't know.
That one's a little bit bizarre.
Yeah.
But it's shocking to see people paying hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions.
$500,000.
I mean, the kid didn't even want to be in school.
No, they want to be
that's
they're
crazy.
social influencers on social media.
Yeah, I
It
was
has
gonna say,
nothing to do with it.
How do you
the
think it's going to
parents.
affect them? Because
They show this.
Lori's daughter, like her younger one, has quite a bit going on for her.
Yeah, that she's. I don't think she'll be ruined for a while, but I mean for a long time. But she's ruined for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she lost a few deals right away.
Right.
But time will pass. She'll get back on. Her mother will serve her time. They'll say the right things. They'll be, crisis managed right. Then the other side of Hollywood kicks in, the part that makes you have your resurrection, and you paid your time, and you did your time, paid your dues. It's just the way it works in this town and a lot of towns, but mainly Hollywood.
Right. You do something questionable, you get caught, and then now you apologize, and now it's a whole new me. And
Yeah, of
like your
course.
branding team and
That's what you get.
your PR team goes, this is how we're gonna rebrand you.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
you can.
Oh, well, they'll put a black baby in your arms from a different country. Anything to make it Mike, she's transgender, your daughter? We didn't know that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What else can we think of
Yeah.
to make the large part of America think that you're wonderful again?
Right.
It's already happening right now with actresses. Charlize Theron wants to know why she can't find a boyfriend in 10 years because she's raising this little boy in a dress.
Is she doing that too?
Yeah, and she's like, I'm single 10 years. No one's coming after me. I want to say, I know, you're gorgeous, but no man wants to come join you and your two little black children, the whitest woman in America, and this boy's in a dress.
I don't want to.
I don't want to sound like an asshole, but that's a lot of baggage for me.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to be like, when that kid gets older, to be like, hey, that really messed me up. I don't want to be a part of that conversation.
It's scary. I don't know if that kid wants that yet.
Yeah. Right? I read that Meghan Markle wants to raise their child to be gender neutral.
Gender neutral.
Yeah.
How do you even do that?
I don't know.
Do you just not let them they just let them choose? I mean, you don't buy them
buy
girl toys or boy toys, dolls or trucks or whatever.
First of all, you put them in a gray or white stroller.
Yellow.
No more blue and yellow, pink.
Mm.
It's very neutral.
You keep them in a room that they can't see daylight or night, so that they can choose.
Di's diary.
Did I what?
I think she found Princess Di's diary somewhere.
Yeah.
She did?
No, I'm just joking.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
She's
I know.
messing
I
with
know she is.
everything that
Yeah.
she
Well, the
could
Queen doesn't
possibly
like her.
mess with.
Listen, she has a whole. I just did a show on that whole thing with the gender neutral, but the Queen doesn't even let her wear most of the jewelry that.
Really? 'Cause they don't like her?
They don't like her. They don't. They don't want to mix that blood.
Okay.
That's
Well, now if they don't like that, then I'm for it. Like, fuck with that family all you want. It's funny. Like, you know what? Then I'm gonna make this kid.
They didn't
But-
want Dodi Fayed near Diana, even after, because look, we don't need you getting pregnant and there being like a relative to the royal family who's an Arab.
Right.
It's very
so
clicky and
that's the other thing is like that mentality.
I know.
In my opinion, I hate that mentality
agree.
of like we can't water down our
Right.
family. Also, that's why they're all incestual and sleeping with each other. Why don't you just go back to that? Why don't you guys just like bang out and then just do it and then you have a bunch of like people with Down syndrome or whatever.
Yeah.
Like but they don't do that anymore. But they also don't want to water down their family with different races and things like that. But then those same people that I was talking about earlier, who will rip on all that stuff, those are the people that celebrate the royal family.
of course, and
when
they watch all the shows and watch the wedding endlessly. I know.
And then they'll rip on the Kardashians, who's like American royalty, and those guys, they're banging everybody, all different colors. Like,
I don't even have a problem with them anymore. They just made it. They're making their money. The joke's on us. They're getting creative at it. I mean, it started out with a sex tape, but beyond then,
way to capitalize, though.
yeah.
Well, I mean, the ratings are the lowest they've ever been.
Yeah,
I
but
can't even.
I know, but the mother's very smart with
Yeah.
business, and look at Kylie finally understood she didn't make it on her own. She's not self-made.
No.
Right.
No
But
way.
Did she actually understand that? Did she?
They say she does.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I think in her mind, I don't know anything about them, but I feel like in her mind, she'd still be like, I did this all on my own. It's like, no.
They're a fascinating family, as much as they really are. I remember she used to come to my parties. Kim Kardashian would be, when I had my book party in Bel Air, Paris Hilton was like known, and my nephew was with me. He was younger. He was like, who's that? I said, that's Kim something. She's like Paris Hilton's, like literally cleans her closet. Like, she's nobody.
Yep.
I mean, her father's a big lawyer, but she's she's hot. Yeah, I know she's hot, but she's like every other Armenian in California. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
In 2 years, she'll be one eyebrow this big,
Right.
And suddenly she becomes, to me, one of the most beautiful women in the world.
Right.
I mean, I think she's absolutely stunning, but she doesn't look like she used to be.
No, they all. Oh, that's the thing. None of them look like their relatives anymore.
Now,
I don't think so.
I think they all look better.
I think they look better.
I mean, some of them have gone a little too far. Chloe, but overall,
I just wonder how do they get their hips?
The butts and the butt
big.
injections. Oh,
I mean, no. Like the butts, I get, but the hips, like Kylie's hips. Kylie was really skinny. Kylie's
I know. That's a
strange
thing. And if we go down that road, we can say that OJ's Chloe's dad. She looks an awful lot like his other daughter. When you see them both with no makeup and pre-procedures.
It definitely doesn't look like Rob's.
No.
They had a lot of fun in Brentwood back then.
Yeah.
The Jenners and the Kardashians. And it's a lot of fun stuff going on. There was.
Chloe definitely does not look like her
sisters.
No,
she doesn't. I've seen those pictures too of the OJ daughter, and I'm like, yeah, damn.
I know.
They do.
Wasn't it OJ or wasn't it somebody else though? It was a white guy.
Yeah, they claim it was. I know. I can't think of the person, but yeah, they always thought that Chris messed around with somebody else.
But I thought that she kind of looked like more like him.
Yeah.
Chloe.
But that one picture of OJ's daughter.
I'll have to look at it.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
Crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
you need
wouldn't
to
doubt
see
it.
it.
And Chloe gets mad when she hears that.
Oh yeah,
she gets real mad.
Could you imagine?
She probably believes it.
Could you imagine if it was if she messed around with Ray J's dad, the mom? Like you find out that Chloe is Ray J's dad's daughter.
How do you even explain that?
Could you imagine?
What would the family? That's like deep math. I can't figure it out.
I have no idea. Yeah, that's
Uncle, mommy, uncle, dad. I don't know.
That family's like that though.
Yeah,
it is.
You could see it happening though, for sure.
We could go on about them all day.
Yeah. Well, but I know we'll probably have to wrap this portion up soon. I don't know. I'm looking at the time, but I don't really know. He's not here. He's not here yet. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Never mind. We'll edit that out or not edit it out based on my based on laziness. We'll see how lazy I am when I edit this.
Right.
But I was gonna touch on the whole gender neutral thing real quick. I'm raising a kid like that because Charlize Theron, I didn't know she was doing that.
Yeah.
And then who else is it that's doing it?
Naomi Watts and Liev Schreiber.
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina, of course. Now there's like they talked about Shiloh forever, but now another one of their kids has that kind of look in photographs. I'm not sure if it's happening, but I know that can't make. Listen, we just did a whole episode about kids today because Dwayne Wade's son came out as gay at 11 years old.
Okay.
Which I think, look, kids gay is fine.
Yeah.
But coming out and going to the big party, the big the what do you call it? The gay festival in Miami.
Right.
And putting it on social media, it's a little too much for a kid.
Right. It's pressure. It's a lot of pressure.
God damn,
it is.
I mean, it's great when you can be comfortable enough to come out and be like, this is me, this is who I am.
I love that.
But I'm saying, like, for full-grown adults, when they're ready, that's still a lot of pressure for them to be like, all right, now I'm taking the whole community on my shoulders. And for 11-year-olds.
I don't even like when they get mad at guys. That one race car driver got held because he made and also Kevin Hart. I mean, he had a bit about, I'm going to break the dollhouse if you play with dolls. Or one comedian said something similar like that. Like he just said, no, he was a race car driver. He said to his son was in a princess dress. And he said, you see what I got to deal with? And he goes, little boys don't wear dresses, Just the thing a father would say.
Right.
You got hell for it.
Oh, yeah.
Retract it. You can't be that way.
Well, my son, he wanted his nails painted because we got mani-pedis yesterday.
I saw his nail paint. That doesn't bother me.
And
fine.
he never has, but I'm like, fine, I don't care. Or he'll like put on my heels, but I don't think he's gay. And if he is, I don't care.
And see, I think that's the thing is like, I feel like it does more damage in case. What if you're wrong, right?
Well, sure.
What if you're like, because I feel like the people that go, I'm going to raise them gender neutral, they lean toward female. There's a definite lean.
And it also, in this community, Hollywood, it gives you points. It gives you
For sure.
tolerance points and all those sorts of things.
I feel like there's like a group of Hollywood moms that get together, and then there's one that their kid is just like a straight dude.
Yeah.
And they're embarrassed.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, what's wrong with him? Yeah.
We don't talk about him.
He's
that
working
much.
on his car.
Yeah, I know.
God.
We don't talk about him.
It's the way it's becoming. And it's not, look, the greatest thing that's happening is like this generation. My son is 11. I coach. They have transgender kids in their school. My daughter's 14. And when I started seeing it, it set me back a little bit. Like, wow, this really is happening. And I'd say they're in the school. And their action was, yeah. And nothing beyond that. I said, do you make fun of them? No.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that those kids are not. However, there's a part about youth and getting banged around and made fun of and picked on to a degree that toughens you up for the real world ahead. Not abuse.
No, yeah.
But just the ribbing that goes on with your name, with your fucking clothes, if your hair is oily. Now, nothing can be said about a kid, and especially if he's transgender. Yeah. Which is less than 1% of the population of the world. Yeah. And it's a little scary for those. What's going to happen?
Yeah. Because it teaches you to also not be so sensitive is the thing. Like if there's something that is clearly bigoted, that's wrong.
Absolutely.
But if it's like I posted this meme the other day, and it started because her daughter, who's 13, was in the backseat talking about her friend who she thinks might have an eating disorder. All right, that's not funny, right? But I'm in the driver's seat, and I just bust up laughing because I'm thinking this joke to myself, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry, I'm not talking about your friend right now. Yeah. But I was like, wouldn't it be funny if you did a pun like, I'm on the seafood diet. When I see food, I eat it, right? But I was like, what if you did one where I was like, yeah, I have an eating disorder. I'm eating this order. And so I had to explain to her too. I was like, I'm not laughing at your friend or your situation. I felt like the biggest dick in the world, but I was like, I just thought of this thing, and that's kind of how I make a living. So I thought this was funny. And then I posted it on social media, and
made a meme.
Yeah, and it was like, it got shared a bunch. People liked it a lot. Yeah. But then also then it started, and just like how insensitive. And my response is like, because I've always been a big advocate of mental health and things that I went through as a kid and everything else. And I was like, they're like, you wouldn't laugh at that if that happened to you. And I was like, I've had a lot of bad things happen to me in my life, and I've learned to laugh at them. Now, if somebody came to me and said, hey, legit, like with it, like no smile, no sarcasm, and said, I think touching children is a great thing. Yeah. I'd fucking hit the ceiling. I'd be very mad. Of course. But I can also make jokes. Yeah. And it's like, if something is a joke, if it's a true joke and it's meant in jest and it's not mean-spirited, then that's what I mean is like, it teaches people not to be so sensitive. Because could you imagine walking around that upset all the time about everything?
And let me tell you, these kids they're thinking the world is bubble wrapped. It's not. It's fucking hard out there. People are mean. People get fired. You lose your job over this or that. And now with people being so ultra tolerant and ultra careful, the things you can and cannot say, the reason why guys like us can do well, and I found my little niche, is because there is a large percentage of people who still want things the old way. Like, can we just talk like we used to talk? Can we just not worry about that word?
For sure.
All right, man. Well, thank you for coming in and hanging out.
Sure, man. Anytime.
Make sure everybody checks out your podcast, Fame as a Bitch. Also, make sure you check out his Patreon. He's got a really original name for his daily podcast, which we jacked from, but then on accident, and now it's just the Daily Unfiltered.
Daily Unfiltered on Patreon, yes. And Fame as a Bitch every day. We're popping, man.
Yeah, check it out. And then anywhere else, like whatever,
social media, AJ Benza on Twitter. Stuff, I mean, anybody knows where to find me. Okay. I'm AJ Benza anywhere.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Thank you for coming in.
Anytime. It was great. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You got it.